Hello, everybody. My name is Mahael Abdul-Qawi. I'm the founder and representative of the Accountability Party for Human Rights, a political vanguard organization comprised of individuals of the working class who have chosen a path of self awareness and self understanding to become something more for themselves, for their loved ones, family, and friends, and then at large, if they can, if they're able to provide the resources to the communities around them. In this video, I would like to discuss several different things. And of course, as always, the common denominator for all of these topics is that these are things that I believe the working class people across this country and at this point, the working class people across the world should be aware of. Again, this is what I believe that we should take note of because there are a lot of cogs that are turning right now by a lot of elite forces, but not just here where I'm from, of the United States of America. We are seeing cogs turn from every elite across the world, whether it's a government, whether it's celebrities, whether it's corporate, military. We're seeing these things move for their self-interest while still draining not even the life force, just the soul out of the working class people on a day-to-day basis and still expect us to support them and be stupid about it. So these are topics that me as a voice amongst many voices want to share. And the first thing I want to talk about is our former president, Barack Obama, going back to the White House to have a moment to save in what I call a PR stunt. He's having a moment where his vice president, now current sitting president, Joe Biden, is failing in every absolute way possible. And again, he's not causing a lot of things. This man is incapable of causing anything. He's a dud. He's a potato. But because we have a potato who was expected to do things, to respond to things instead of reacting as this potato is doing, he's ultimately failing. And we see that in a drastic measure as we are now reaching the midterm state where, for those who aren't aware, for those who don't get too into the political stuff, pretty much the midterm elections are where right now, because of the failings of the Trump administration during COVID, the Democrats won the White House, the Senate, the House, blah, 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 which ultimately means all that they should have easy time passing laws, which is a whole video in itself, but they don't. So what this means is the midterm elections is an opportunity to keep the playing field fair, which is not fair when you have a two-party system and you silence every other option that we could have. To make it fair in the midterm elections, the American people across the country have a chance to decide if they want to continue on with the House and the Senate. They can't change, of course, the sitting president, but the sitting president will have to go through potentially an opposing House and Senate. And why? And again, ultimately, that doesn't really fucking matter with this two-party system. They're literally, at this point, not even two sides of the same coin. They're the same side of the coin. It's just the same side, but like a different part of the side. That's the only difference. It's a different engraving. But what we have is this two-party system going back and forth in what will be another clash. The Democratic Party is having a moment where they are panicking because they are afraid of losing their majority of power, which again, they have not flexed for people that ultimately wanted to have this power so bad since 2016 when Barack Obama, their current PR stunt, left the White House. But it's funny and it's actually more hilarious. Like, it's not even, but the event itself, Obama showing up, although it was a political PR stunt, is actually more hilarious than anything for what it was wanting to do. Obama, in Obama typical fashion, showed up to the event. And because he has this huge ego, because he has to make everything about him, even when it's a complete fuck up and he should have accountability, he has to demand a spotlight, regardless if it's people's social life or actual life. Yes, because Obama has blood on his hands, but again, that's another video for another conversation. So he goes to this event and he ultimately takes the spotlight off of our current sitting president. And the reason why that's a moment that needs to be talked about is because if this is the man that's going to be leading us, and I'm talking about Joe Biden, if this is the man that's supposed to be leading us in the free world, he should have this presence at an event, regardless of how much charm Obama has. It's a room full of politicians. Everybody has charm. And honestly, I'm sorry. At this point, Obama's charm is kind of faded out. Like, let's be real. Let's be all, let's be really honest right now. His charm is played out. And maybe I'm the only one that says that. And if I am, so be it. But it's just, I'm sorry, it shouldn't upstage the current president. The president of the free world should, regardless if he's Trump, Biden, or even if he was Bernie, he should not even demand, but just have this aura of respect. And the fact that everybody focused on Obama, the fact that they even needed Obama, there shows the state that we are in. That should be a warning sign. Fuck a warning sign for the Democrats. It's a warning sign for the American people. At this point, who cares if you voted for him? If you did, accept it, whatever. If you didn't, stop coming at the people who voted for him. It's a pointless fight. We're almost 2 years into this shit. Who the fuck cares? It's whatever. It is what it is. We as the working class people now need to be in a position where we see that, okay, we thought he was gonna be bad. We didn't think he was gonna be this much of a fuck up, honestly. And because of that, when it's such a drastic situation, when they need this man to come in, and again, it could have been a situation where Obama shows up, speaks, blah blah blah, does whatever, and then Biden comes back in and still takes the stage and shows, hey, yeah, he's here to help, but but at the end of the day, I'm your leader now. This is who I am. And why that's important is because as these cogs move, and this is transition to another topic that I'm going to talk about, and like what I said at the beginning of the video, there are a lot of cogs that are moving on a global scale now where it's bigger than just a working class fight here in America. Yes, still, if you're here in this country, and for any country, fight for your country's working class, but see how we are all connected and how we need to stand in solidarity and really, fight for us is a fight for all because we're all moving. And Biden pointed this out recently when he was overseas in Europe doing his PR stunt for Ukraine. And I call everything a PR stunt because at this point it's it's a shit show that we are living in. It's yeah, it's a clown shit show. He said it himself. there's a new world order brewing. And I know a lot of people, like many words have or phrases has become tainted with a negative connotation. And I know New World Order is often dismissed as conspiracy theory, especially after the 9/11 era of things. But from a political sense, from a historian sense, you have to see and all that there's always a world order. And just that the phrase "new world order" just sounds scary because of conspiracy Hollywood flair, because in America we always have to have a flair even down to the common folk. So it's become very mystified, but on a actual like factual, that sounded weird. Sorry for rhyming that. But in reality, there's always a new world order when when we beat when the British Empire fell, when the domino effect after the Revolutionary War, and then from there they started losing their command across their global empire. It changed the world order. When there was chaos in Europe that triggered both World War I and World War II, and the depression that everybody fell into at the time. That was a new world order at the time. And then post World War II, in the Cold War era, that is also a world order, a new world order for those at that time. So I say that because when I mention Biden bringing up now, I'm not trying to fuel into an Illuminati sense. And although yes, it's not one big it's not one big group of all these leaders meeting all together in conspiracy. No, they hate each other. If anything, everybody has their own Illuminati that's actually going against each other, and the mass casualties are the working class people. That's the real Illuminatis. So this new world order that's brewing is, as we're being distracted, and I hate using what's going on in the Ukraine, and I don't want to use the people that have been lost due to the evil of the elites. I don't want to call their deaths a distraction, but the way it's being used as a distraction, unfortunately, it really is unfortunate. Um, it's a distraction from the people to see, because they don't want to create hysteria to see that we are currently in a new Cold War, but there is alliances being formed. And I don't want to get too deep into the politics again, but because I want to more so talk about how this all should be fuel for the working class to be energized. But there are alliances happening in the East right now that are bigger than the divide and alliances that are happening here, that will ultimately affect how we live if we don't start right now as the working class start seeking our own independence. And why Biden failing at this event, to show leadership in his own house amongst his own party is a bigger scale, because people already look at him on a failure in these other cogs. Biden needs to stand up for the working class. His leadership isn't for his sake. He doesn't need to be a leader for the sake of his ego or for a pissing contest with Obama. He needs to be a leader to represent the American people and to show that, yes, we're a turmoil, but that he can carry us through. That would have been a moment. And that, yes, I have the former president, the man who was a fuck up for 8 years, on my side, supporting me, being the leader now. He failed at that opportunity. And that is going to reflect, especially as when he's bragging about the unemployment going down, which is a very, yes, we are now in February 2020. We have snapped back. Thanos snapped us back, and we are now where we need to be. And we are 2022 is now 2020 V2. And but he's bragging on Twitter about the unemployment rates, and although yes, that is something to celebrate, at the same time, people are struggling across this country to pay for inflations, because we're paying the price for the rise of inflation that is going on right now. Not because he caused it, but because there has been a domino effect that is a snowball effect that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And because he is incapable of handling it, we are paying the price. He didn't cause anything, but because he's incapable of handling it, we are paying the price. And that is where we're at. So I say all this because the working class, we, from a spiritual aspect and just from a survival aspect, we have to start shifting our own independence. And again, it starts with the individual, because we don't have time to be fighting each other. We have to calm whatever quarrels we have within ourselves so that we can calm quarrels that we have with our neighbors. Because again, the working class is comprised of people that you cannot stand, from a cultural aspect, from a racial aspect, from an ideological aspect. But you got to get over it. I'm sorry. There's bigger things that are happening that we need to fight against. And the more that we keep ignoring it, the more that we keep distracting ourselves with these cultural politics, the more that we keep feeding into them, the more that we become more hatred within ourselves, with each other. The elites are just going to keep using us mass casualties. And inshallah, we can again start pushing ourselves individually to start taking those uncomfortable choices to become something better for ourselves, for our family and friends, and then hopefully, if you're able to gather enough resources, to physically extend outward the communities at large.